Hello, welcome back to Shadow Work and Gems podcast, guys. My name is Olympia. So, divine risings to you all. I hope you all having an awesome day, whatever time frame you're in. Today is Thursday, July 30th, 2026, and we have so much going on in the world. You guys can check me out on the other side with some information, about different things, whether it's the Nolan Wells case and Irving, Daniel Irving, as well as Lon Hartmut stories over there, over on Butterflies and Tea, guys. You should go check it out if you have not already. Make sure to like and subscribe as well over there and over here, and make sure you like it over here because it's still a part of that just podcast side. So, jumping on in, guys, last time we were talking about um, wound mapping and the breakdown of it, and left you with maybe trying to do a little bit of mirror gazing, loving on yourself, telling you how much you love yourself, you're beautiful or handsome or whatever the case may be. You get the idea. That's neither here or there because that was the last one. If you missed that one, you can go over there. This will be the third podcast for shadow work. And then we'll wrap it up soon as well. I want to break down some other things of the idea of shadow work and how, well, neither here or there. Let's not get you guys ahead of schedule. So let's go to mind traps, and we're going to go with anchoring. Now, mind you guys, I do have notes that I read from, and when I do read these notes, sometimes I can't read my own writing. Now, the fact that I'm in a little bit of, I'm gonna pop this light on so you won't see my little fancy is good, but excuse me, I can see to, give you information a little better. So, mind traps. Anchoring, okay? Tendency to rely heavily on the first piece of information, the anchor. And that's encountering when making decisions, which influences subsequent judgments, even if it's irrelevant to the decision. Okay? Then you have confirmation bias. You favor things that confirm your existing beliefs. So whatever you believe, you want to confirm that. You get the idea, hopefully. Now, again, guys, if you need, me to respond a little better with some of these things, comments back into it. So, reactance is you would rather do the opposite of what someone is trying to make you do. Sunk cast fallacy. You irrationally cling to things that have already cast cost. Can't read my own writing, cost you something, right? Then you have the Dunning-Kruger effect, which makes me think about Freddy Krueger, but the Dunning-Kruger effect. The more you know, the less confident you are going to be. And then you have backfire effect. It's um, when your core beliefs are challenged and it can cause you to believe in them more strongly. Now, you guys leave me some comments if you guys had like some of these issues and things of that nature. I guess technically I would rather do the opposite of what someone would tell me at one time. That was a part of my shadow. The part of that nobody knew, but they knew. Um, but yeah, so leave me some comments with that, guys. Moving on to declinism. You remember the past better than it was, and then you expect it to, the future basically to be worse than it will likely be. Then you have the framing effect. You allow yourself to be influenced by context and delivery. And then you have the negative bias, which you allow negative things to disproportionately influence your thinking. So then we go back, right? We're going to go back over to decompressing after shadow work because, again, shadow work is a lot. You take in a lot. You're basically going through everything that has ever occurred from beginning to end in your life that you can recall that always constantly runs in your mind, and it affects you now to where you have bad relationships, bad friendships, and so on and so forth, even maybe work, because things that you have in the past, like maybe when you were a child, again, talked about previously, um, in the other podcasts. Go to the beginning, come back here if you haven't seen them already. And so that's a problem within itself right there, right? So you got to go back to again decompressing. So you go back to the writing in the journal, the self-reflecting on who you are, and going out for a walk or a jog or whatever you may need. Meditate, like I said before, self-love, look in the mirror. What do you see? How do you feel? Things of that nature. Self-acceptance, accepting who you are, because you're loved, you're cared for by someone or a person, right? Because some people don't have a lot of family, but some people always have that one person, maybe a friend, like a really, really close friend or something like that, that you trust with just about anything, maybe even your life, that type of, you know, compassion, have care and love for you, then you can paint. I like painting sometimes. I enjoyed it for a little while there. I have paintings around everywhere at the moment. And then you can do yoga if you enjoy yoga, do yoga, I did a little bit of meditating for the most part and writing because I do write. I like to write, I like reading. So I don't mind journaling things sometimes. It helps me at least to relieve it, to put it on paper and kind of feel a little better about it. So whatever works for you is the idea, not what works for me or anybody else, what works for you, right? Okay, so got all of that in. Okay. Now, there's three types of spirituality. So when you come into shadow work, most people sometimes ask people like, "Oh, what's your religion?" And I say spiritual, and oh, what is spiritual? What's spiritual to you, And there is different types of spirituality, So I'm gonna break down. There is the spiritual individualism. There's spiritual collectivism. There's also spiritual dialogue, right? So we'll break it down. But in general, for me, spiritual is, how do I say? Not that I don't believe in the man up above, because I do. If not for him, a lot of things we would not be. Let's just put that down, And if you don't believe in that sort of stuff, that's fine. That's you. No judgment. But again, I do believe in those things. Now, I feel like the thing is with that situation, I say spiritual because I believe in him. I believe in my ancestors helping me, here on this earth. I have having angels, spirit guides, things of that nature. So I'm spiritual, but I do know that there is a man upstairs. If not for him, there would be nothing. There would be no spirit guides. There would be no angels. There would be none of those things in my own mind, at least, right? So I don't know what you guys feel about that. You guys leave me some comments. If you don't want, that's fine. Again, some people don't feel comfortable talking about some things, but to give you the spiritual breakdown, because again, you not to say give up on maybe Christianity or, being Catholic, whatever your religion is, right? You can still work on shadow work and be like, I'm a spiritual person, whatever the case, you have to understand what it is though. So this is what we're going to do, the elaboration of the three. So, spiritual individualism focuses on the individual's personal spiritual journey and internal experience. It emphasizes the introspection, your inner self, self discovery, and the unique relationship with divine or a higher power, right? As I was just saying. But then you have a spiritual collectivism. This type centers on the importance, excuse me, guys, of a community and shared spiritual practices. It emphasizes the role of the religious institutions, as I was just saying, traditions, rituals, and sorry, excuse me, and it's fostering a sense of belonging and spiritual growth, right? But then you have spiritual dialogue, which is engaging in conversation and interaction with others about spiritual matters, even those with different beliefs. It emphasizes the value of learning from diverse perspectives and fostering understanding through open communication, which again, breaking them all down kind of sounds similar, but the way that I broke it down, it's broke down in the sense of, again, you have your religious, Catholic, Christian, whatever, but you can still have this within. because it's about inner for the most part, right? Because that's the spiritual individualism part of it. You knowing who you are, you understanding who you are, what you like, what you don't like, what you want to do, what you don't want to do. You have yourself figured out. If somebody asks you certain things, I know what this, ooh, this is what this is, versus like, let me think about that. If somebody asks you something, like, oh, it's like when you're growing up as a kid, well, what do you want to be when you grow up? It's like, oh, I want to be a doctor. I want to be this. Kind of same difference, but we're grown. So it's more like you got to focus at what you choose to do or not do in a sense. If you guys get what I'm dropping, pick it up. Okay. Okay. So again, that's the differences between, the different spiritualisms. Because again, there's a three. So then you have four basic techniques of new spirituality. They keep on coming out with everything new, y'all. I'm sorry. I don't know what to tell you. You know, it is what it is, right? Right. Okay. So everything is consciousness. Everything, every person is God. Don't come after me, y'all. This is what I learned. Consciousness can be harnessed to achieve perfection. Okay. Now, again, I do believe in this stuff because I feel like whatever you put in your mind, if it's like, oh, well, I want this business, and you keep that mindset, like, I'm going to get that. I don't care what nobody says. I don't care. You don't put no negative thoughts whatsoever in your mind. It's all, I got it already. It's done already. This is what I've got. This is what it's going to be. Manifesting these things. That's pretty much what that is for me. You guys let me know what it is for you or what you get from that, right? So then you have the purpose of life is overcoming self. Self. That's like the hardest thing, really, is coming over yourself because pride and ego, baby. I'm dropping gems. Are you picking them up though? Okay? Because if you know who you are, if you don't hide who you are, if you truly face the shadow part of you, your life could be so much better. And me saying that to you all is because I'm hoping that if there's that younger generation that's coming in here, take heed. That's all I'm saying. Take heed because if you know things sometimes before they occur, you can save yourself a whole lot of hell. That's just that. You feel me? Like, there's so many things. Like, I remember growing up as a teenager and my dad saying, oh, don't do this because of, whatever the case may be. And I'd be like, oh, okay. And he would tell me, knowing I know she's gonna go do it. I didn't told her though, so she just gotta learn on her own. But when does it become a point where we learn and actually, like, from whatever we're doing, like, learn the lesson in it? So where if we do it that first time and it's like, oh shoot, I don't think I want to do that anymore. Versus, well, I know the outcome, but let me go back and try that again. That was me one time. You know that it's like, oh, no, but it's like, oh, well, ah, let me go do it again. Not to say that you were doing it on purpose, not to say, that you didn't care, but at that moment, you don't really care. You're only worried about you in a sense. So it's kind of like selfishness, and you don't even realize it. It's okay. It's not okay, but it's okay at that moment until you really sit back and realize the things that you did or you didn't do. Plain and simple. Pick up the gems, guys. Okay. So again, self. That is like literally the purpose of life is overcoming yourself. Okay. And of course, the Bible. If again, don't come after me if you're not that type of person. Keep moving. Okay. That's just what it is. Now, number one is connecting or a connection to self. And then you have number two, others. Number three, this is for spiritual needs. I probably should have said that. For spiritual needs, which is connection to self, others, nature, transcendent, going beyond ordinary limits, surpassing usual, um, ascending or re-extending beyond the limits, right? Human experiences. My bad, y'all. My writing. I'll do better. Okay. So then you have the personal and communal. Okay. Then there's the environment and transcendence or supreme, right? So again, the four main things right there, to make you a better person. At least that's what we're trying to do, right? If you're actually working on it or attempting to work on it, and don't, we do fall short, of the lessons that we learn in the sense of if you're taking heed to the shadow work, we do fall, off the wagon sometimes. But when you're doing it constantly still, then you're not really working on it. You're not serious about it. That's just that. You're just not serious. And that's okay. You're maybe not ready for it. Just at that point, if you know that you're a certain type of person, you should probably just step away from everybody and be by yourself until you can figure who you are, you know? And sometimes when we don't have people in our life, if they choose to walk out or because they get tired of the BS, or if maybe they just were so tired of it that they were just like, they're not who they used to be. They are like a completely different person, and you expect them to be different than what they are. But at the same time, how can they be in a sense? And I say, I guess my question of the day is, how do you build somebody back up that you tore down? And especially if you're attempting to, and even if they say, hey, I need you to fix me this way or I need you to fix me that way, I don't know, maybe it's hard to kind of understand exactly that situation, I guess, in a sense. I'm not sure. I guess in the sense of, okay, if this person says this to you, then if you're trying to give them that, but then they're saying that that's not what it is, if you guys pick the gym or picking the gyms up, let me know. Leave it in the comments. Um, I don't know. Let's move on. Neither here or there. All right, Shadow Work and Gems podcast episodes. This is, guys, again, the third one. Please make sure to give me a thumbs up. Leave me some comments about what you feel, what you think, or is it working for you? Have you tried it? Have you not tried it? So, season, I say season one, but it's basically episode one was shadow work, which was working on the mind. And episode two was shadow work for how to spot your shadows and your triggers, your, self triggers. So that way your shadow self and your self triggers. I hope you guys understand what I'm saying here. Oh, it's a long day for me, guys. Anyways, episode three, which is right now, what we're on mind traps and basically explanation. Then we have, I say, um, episode four. It really isn't an episode four. I mean, it is, but it isn't because at this point, I pretty much broke down as much as I can for you guys as far as shadow work, um, and kind of gave you an explanation. Hopefully, an explanation of the better understanding of it. Um, because reading a book of shadow work is like so extensive. Like, it's a lot to take in. Like, if you read, shadow working, but like just reading it more than a few times myself. I just kind of broke everything down to try to understand it better, try to get a better way of it versus having to read this long, I say long book because you're trying to focus and think while you're trying to read this, information. And it's not easy to do that for some people. Um, because for me, I go into deep thought with it. So that's just that. Either ways, I need to wrap this up, guys, because I think the last podcast was like 20 some minutes, and I really don't intend for these to be that long. So when I come back in, we're gonna just talk about some other things that I feel that I would like to talk about. And then I think we're just going to be just running with it. And we're just going to be on general conversation, things that I would like to talk about, maybe in the sense of outside of my Butterflies and Tea channel. I'd rather bring it here to my podcast. Uh, Maybe you guys will come in here and pick those gems up. I don't know. You know, uh, yeah. So I say all that to say I hope you guys are enjoying Shadow Work and Gems podcast. Please let me know in the comments if you do, if you're getting anything out of it or not. Um, is there something that I can maybe explain to you better or try to maybe give you a better understanding? Again, guys, I am not a professional. I've said that previously. I ain't got no doctorates, no licenses, no nothing. again, life learned lessons. That is it, guys. No more, no less. Can't talk. So again, I'm not a professional. If you guys feel like you need a professional, please do that. Please go and see a professional, whether it's a therapist or a psychiatrist, whichever one you feel like you need, baby. Go see them. And I feel like there's something else I want to say, but I also feel like this video then ran up further than what I want to. So I will chit chat on the next one. But the next one I think I will do is the question of the day will be on some other things that I want to talk about. But also, I think if we have time, which I think I will be, do you feel like being married is better or being single? And have you found yourself or not? And are you in a relationship or are you not in a relationship? That's going to be my question to you all. All right, guys. Love you. Bye. I'll call you back.